Ist drücken. Ja, gut gemacht.
Bist du schon weit?
Ich warte gerade nur, dass die Linke passen.
Habe ich nicht.
Ja. Popcorn meets IT. Welcome and good morning at Global Azure Austria 2025. We are super happy that you are all here and we give you a warm welcome at this community event. And my name is Etzlstorfer. I'm chairman of the Coding Club Linz, and I have the honor to greet you and give you a little bit information about the organizational part, where you can get food, where you can get drinks, how everything works. So you already found your way into the keynote room. That's awesome. Jürgen will take over the stage in a few moments. You can find the whole program either online on globalazure.net.at, sorry. And you can also find the entire program on the screens right in front of the rooms that we have. So take a look, choose your sessions. We have 2 tracks after the keynotes, and in every time slot you can choose between one of the 2 sessions. We tried to organize the program in a way that we mix a little bit, so you do not have 2 DevOps sessions at the same time or 2 AI sessions at the same time. So you can really choose the session based on your particular interest. From an organizational point of view, the Diamonds bar right at the other side of the corridor outside belongs to us for the entire day. You have gotten some vouchers when you came into the room, into the cinema here. So take these vouchers and exchange them for a cup of coffee, a drink, whatever. You can also find some sweet snacks at the Diamond Bar. Feel free, just take one. If you feel hungry, just take one. It's all for you. And at lunchtime, we will have a warm lunch, 2 options. Both are vegetarian. I'm sure there is a vegan option too. So enjoy the day. I hope foods and drinks are good and the content is even better. There is one last thing that I have to do. I would like you to give a big round of applause to 2 parties. First, our awesome sponsors, Microsoft, ACP, Qubito, and Dynatrace. Without their support, it wouldn't be possible to rent the room, to offer you free food, to offer you free drinks. So big round of applause for our sponsors, please. And the second big round of applause that I would ask you for is for our speakers. We do not pay our speakers. All of these speakers, they presented the content in their time. They are here in their free time. They invest time to present what they are passionate about, what they do. And for that, I think they also deserve a big round of applause. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for taking the time to present and taking the time to prepare. Thank you very much. And with that's everything from my side. If you have any questions, just come to me or any other of the friendly organizations, organizers outside. We can help you. And we wish you a beautiful day, a very interesting day. And with that, I would like to hand over you. The stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Anna. Okay, so let's get this started here. Okay, good morning. Yeah. Thanks, Rainer, and thanks to the whole Global Azure organization team for doing this. I think I joined the first time at Global Azure maybe already like 8 years, 10 years ago as a participant. I really like the format since then. I think it's a great opportunity also to connect and to exchange. So I will also be here, I should say right at the beginning, I'll also be here, I think especially in the morning, so if there's like during breaks, if there are any questions, please approach me. During my talk, I will not really stop for questions, so I kind of run through But if there are any questions, I will be here also later on, so just approach me if there are any questions, but also take the chance, I think, to talk to each other and really take this day as a chance to connect. I've prepared a couple of things for today and chosen the bigger title of Empowering Austria with Azure. And we'll touch upon a couple of things that are very relevant these days in our business, our organization, but also in your organizations, I guess. So let me just do a quick intro. My name is Jürgen. I work as an Azure Application Innovation Specialist at Microsoft Austria. So I'm based here in the kind of local subsidiary. Azure Application Innovation Specialist, kind of a long role. It basically means that I work with enterprise customers on the journey on Azure, bringing their applications on Azure, innovating their applications on Azure, using Azure as a platform for their applications to run on. And I'm also organizer of the Cloud Native Meetup in Linz. So I've seen some familiar faces. Maybe you've already joined one of the other edition of this. So we are running this kind of monthly meetups. You're most welcome to join. I have a link also to this at the very end of the presentation, so you can then grab it directly from the screen. So with that, I want to start just to give you a little bit of insight what we are doing at Microsoft Austria with our Austrian customers. And I have a couple of use cases, a couple of kinds of reference stories I want to briefly share. The first one, I will not roll the video, so it's basically just a screenshot. But what you see is a co-pilot developed by one of our customers, Andritz in Graz, and their vision is to build autonomous mills in autonomous plants. And this Mattress Co-pilot, Mattress is the name of their product, and the Mattress Co-pilot is an enhancement of this. It is basically the first step of fulfilling this vision of autonomous mills. So you can chat, the expert operator can interact and chat with this kind of co-pilot and get insights into some maybe malfunctioning of this plant, of any, what it says here, of any performance degradations, anomalies. So it's really a great help for the operators of this plant to basically get all these insights without having to dig deep manually. The other thing is what we've also have been doing in the last, I think, 2 years is a very strong and close partnership with AVL. I think we also even have Patrick here. He's from AVL and speaking later today, where we are also working on the topics of software-defined vehicles, of bringing AI-based agents into the knowledge base and into kind of making it work within AVL, but also for the customers of AVL. Another thing that we are driving from Austria is, and that's already, I think, 2 years ago when we published this success story or this kind of case with Spar. I think everyone can relate at least to that use case if you're not in the other industries, because what we've done here is within a close collaboration to really help reducing food waste in the supermarkets. That's a very challenging problem. Just think of this, or apparently what's really challenging is to sell, for example, watermelons when it's raining. So that's one of the things. You have a very, like, everyone wants to have a watermelon when the sun is shining, but no one wants it to when it's raining. And with these kind of forecasts and predictions, we really helped to kind of reduce the food waste in the supermarkets. One thing where really Gen AI landed also very much within Upper Austria is from the financial sector, from Raiffeisen. What they've done is, let's say, an internal ChatGPT for their employees within the Raiffeisen Landesbank. That's also a pretty fascinating and very well developed use case. And going a little bit more from the ground to outer space, one thing that we've been working on since I think also 1 or 2 years is with it's the Hera case. We are referring to it as Hera. That's the name of the space mission and the spacecraft. We are working jointly with the European Space Agency, Paramount Studios, which is the kind of film studios, the subsidiary of Red Bull, and other companies to bringing AI capabilities also to outer space, in the sense that it's possible for everyone to interact with this spacecraft and ask questions. What's going on out there? How is, I don't know, like the temperature out there? What do you currently see? And this is a really fascinating use case to have this kind of chat interface also with the spacecrafts outer space. Yeah, you will find it online. Typically, it's the HERA case, and that's also pretty fascinating. So from kind of ground to outer space, all these use cases, they run on Azure. They use the power of Azure as the cloud. And Azure itself, it's not one, as you might know, it's not one single hypercomputer, but it's actually a huge interconnected and connected network of several hundreds data centers. So I think on this slide, what did we say on top? 200 data centers spanning really across the globe. And since we're here at the Global Azure Austria, I also happy to share that what we will be doing this summer is opening one additional cloud region that will be one of the hundreds, or one of the more than 65 cloud regions globally. It's the cloud region in Austria. So we've announced this already some years ago, but this summer it's really landing. We're opening really soon with this cloud region. You already see it on our interactive map. It's already listed. And I'm really eager to see then the final date when it says when it's really open. So what do we bring to Austria as a cloud region? It's a full Microsoft cloud. Okay, here we go. It's a full Microsoft cloud in the sense that it's not only Azure services that you can run them in the cloud region Austria East, but it's also other services like Microsoft 365, Dynamics, the Power Platform. So it's really a full Microsoft cloud in that sense. The Microsoft cloud region for Microsoft and how we design this kind of services, it's not a single data center. It's actually it's already consisting of 3 availability zones, and each availability zone consists of data centers. So it's really built for high availability, for high resiliency. And those data centers, those availability zones, they are kind of around Vienna. This is also why we call it Austria East. By the name, we might guess that there are bigger plans behind it. Maybe there's also some other reasons coming soon. We don't know yet. But we are referring to our Austrian cloud region as the cloud region Austria East, consisting of these 3 data centers. I map here. I do not know the exact location, so it's just like approximately somewhere around Vienna. You will have in the Austrian cloud region, of course, local data processing, local data residency, but it's still connected to the global Azure cloud. So there's a very easy data exchange if you want to span your workloads across the globe or across Europe. That's easily possible as it's fully connected within Azure. One of the use cases that might be very relevant for Austrian customers, and it's really important to have like a local cloud region, is when it comes to really low latency use cases. So with this, since it's very close to our region and maybe to your customers or your organizations, if you're also serving within Austria, then you have like really low latency. We're talking about the 2 to 4 milliseconds of latency. That it's just by physics not possible if you go to, I don't know, like let's say Amsterdam. What else do we have? Yeah, just a sketch here of the availability zones, how we usually design this. I already said, typically we have 3 availability zones in one cloud region, and each availability zone consisting of multiple data centers, so that we can guarantee also high availability. When we're going a little bit bit further, expanding a little bit from Austria. I just want to bring this slide and just briefly talk about this because it was a very, very recent announcement. I think only 10 days ago, our corporate vice president, Brad Smith, announced in Brussels at the European Union that we as Microsoft make a very, very strong commitment to the European Union and to our European and of course also Austrian customers. So there are 5 pillars of this, and it's a quite extensive blog post. So I will also have the link at the very end of my slides for you to read upon this. I just want to grab maybe the first one here, also what it actually means because for all of them, there are kind of concrete actions we take are described in the blog post. So for the first one, it says we will help build a broad AI and cloud ecosystem across Europe. And our plans here is really to increase our footprint of European data centers by 40% in the next 2 years. So that's really a quite significant investment to also increase to 200 data centers within Europe. And for all of this, you will find a very extensive description and the actions we take on the blog post that I will link at the end, and you can just snap it in with your phone. Here we go. In the beginning, I was talking a lot about this kind of Gen AI and AI use cases, and I want to explain in the next couple of minutes how we actually provide these services and how you are able to use them. So this screenshot is from last night, and what we have here is on the very outset of the picture, you just see the number next to models. So we have close or like nearly 2,000 AI models available in Azure, in the Azure AI Foundry. And that might be a little bit surprising for some of you, because we have been quite famous for our very strong relationship with OpenAI, and we bring OpenAI models to Azure already for quite some years. But we've also expanded now to include open source models, to include the European models, to include other models also on Azure, so that you can run it within your subscriptions, within your tenants. So this is quite a substantive amount of models, close to 2,000 models that you can pick as of like yesterday, maybe the numbers even higher today. But these models, like also the Mistral family developed, I think in France, is available on the Azure AI Foundry. And that's really the entry point when it comes to developing AI applications. We have the AI Foundry, which is, let's say, our central point as a starting point, but also as an operating and monitoring point for your AI and for your large language models if you run them on Azure. So as said, we do have all these foundational models, we do have the open source models, but we also do have huge integrations when it comes to start developing with those models. So we have our Visual Studio Code, Visual Studio family. We have all these SDKs to interact and to build your applications using those models. They are also integrated with the Azure AI Content Safety. And we also provide all these monitoring and governance, customizations, and evaluations, because we know it's not easy to go into this kind of new way of developing AI applications, because how do we test them? It's kind of a little bit new. It's not as we just write a unit test for this, because the LLM, it's not deterministic. It might give a little bit of a different answer today and a little bit of a different answer tomorrow. Then we change the model. And the answer will look like, again, a little bit different. The semantics, as a human, we could grasp and say it's basically the same, but really to test it, we just need new approaches. And that's just for the testing part. Also, for the content safety part, I want to talk about a little bit. Before that, I just want to mention, since 2018, we have developed our AI principles, and we are still continuing to respect all of these principles, even though LLMs were not really a big thing back then. but we still hold up to all of these principles. I just have this here on the slides because it's kind of the segue into what I actually want to talk about. So with these new AI applications, what we do have is also new attack vectors. So in the traditional applications or additional applications in the broader sense, there are like the classic threat vectors. You want to secure your applications, you want to secure your network, of course you want to secure your identities, also your data, and if you're running the cloud, of course also the cloud that you're running. With AI applications, there's now more to this. There are new threat vectors, and there's new also risks and threats, and also methods of attack. I just have to move a little bit so I can also read it. So we are interacting not only with the user interface that it's kind of predefined, we can just click a button, but now we have prompts that can be via natural language, either spoken or written. We have models. We have, maybe you've heard of RAG, retrieval augmented generation. That means that while the LLM is generating, it also looks for other data that can be augmented to the actual answer. So there's a lot to it, where it's really expanding also on the attack surface. And with prompt injection or trying to jailbreak the model, attackers try to harm organizations and kind of break into the systems. So what we are doing here is we do have Azure AI content safety, and that's, let's say, a safety filter for everything coming in, but also for everything going out. And it's important to have a look at both dimensions of this bigger picture. So let's just say there is a user prompt coming in, user types the questions, I want to learn more about Global Azure Austria. So then it can be enhanced with the system prompt, but before it really hits then the model, there is this Azure AI content safety layer in between that really checks if there's any harmful messages in it, if there's any content that should not go to the model. Once we're safe, it hits the model, a response will be generated, but before it will be sent back to the user, to maybe to your users, it's running again through this kind of content safety filter to make sure that everything the LLM is actually creating is in compliance with some kind of criteria that you want to have matched when you're building your applications. Just to make this a little bit more concrete, what do we mean with these kind of filters? We have different categories here, like violence, hate, sexual, self-harm, and depending a little bit on the use case, you might want to have some actually allowed or some not allowed. So just think of this, if you're building a software for a historical museum or something like this, and asking questions about World War II, there might be just by definition more violence involved, or at least in generating maybe the answer, because there was violence involved in a war. So you might be willing to accept this kind of language when it's sent back to your to the clients of this application. But when you're building a learning software, you might not want to have this language allowed, either not coming in and for sure maybe not going out. So this is where you really can then define and build your applications for everything's coming in and going out, depending on the use case. It's really up to you. There is a very smart default, but it's up to you to really then build your applications and define how you want to have the model actually behaving in the sense which content it will generate. To test, there is the option and the possibility to do this directly in Azure AI Foundry. There is a kind of a playground where you can really test the model, to change the parameters of the model, to have this kind of playground to also check your prompts, also the system prompts that will be added to the prompt that's coming in from the user, that the system prompt can enhance the prompt and add even more value to it. Like, I'm a conference Copilot, I only answer questions on Global Azure Austria. If you question, or if your question is on a pizza recipe, I will not answer this. So these kind of system messages go within the prompt. You can check on this, and you can work with this directly on the Azure AI Foundry. So you can build your application, at least the LLM part directly here, test it, and then deploy it. Kind of the next big thing that really can bring a lot of value when talking about this, Gen AI applications is now agents. I hope you can still hear me. So what do we have, or what do we mean with agents kind of taking this to the next step? Some of the previous example that I gave you was more or less this kind of co-pilot or chat experience. You will send some prompts to the system, software system, LLM, and it will generate the answer for you. Now we're really taking the next step with AI agents. It can be a part in software that can also take some actions autonomously, and even you will not provide the full, let's say, solution path, how you want to have a problem solved, but the agents themselves figure out to solve it. Maybe you've already seen it with GitHub Copilot. There we have some agents, but also we have agents in other systems. For GitHub Copilot, for example, maybe raise of hands, who is using GitHub Copilot? So a lot. Who has already used the agent mode in GitHub Copilot? Not so much. But what you can do is you basically give it a task. You say, I want to have added this new feature. So you're not coding and just asking for one kind of the next step, but you just give it a task. I want to have added this new feature to my web application. And GitHub Copilot with the agents, it will kind of do a stepwise refinement and figure out what do I have to do as a first step to fulfill this task? What do I have to do as a next step? Do I need to test it? Do I need to rework also the UI? Do I have to touch the backend code? And it will reiterate until it finds the solution. And this is true for GitHub Copilot. It's available today. So if you have GitHub Copilot, you can activate it in your VS Code. You have it already tonight when you go home. But also you can have this kind of idea for more applications that you can implement in this sense. So I just have here a picture, and it might not be the greatest picture because maybe it's, I need to talk to this because just with the picture alone, not really delivering the point. So you might have the user that gives us a prompt as the task to the system and say, okay, tell me the total sales by region and show the results as a colorful pie chart. So there might be an agent that is already configured and ready to go to your CRM and fetch all the data to know, okay, this is where all the sales data is lying. Grab it, but maybe I cannot display it. So this is where the second agent would come into play and can create a pie chart based on the information of the first agent. There's even a very, very cool open source project by Microsoft. It's called AutoGen. And with AutoGen, you basically always start with on a let's say a blank canvas. So it would actually, when you ask it this, if you would ask it this question, or maybe a question where you have publicly available information on some, I don't know, like sales or stock numbers, you could say, please print the stock history of the Microsoft stock for the last 18 months. And it would, for sure, kind of in the first beginning, would go to fetch the numbers of the Microsoft stock. But in the second phase, it could not really generate the graph for you because there is no graph library. So we actually start to implement a Python program that is able to display and render a chart. And with this program, it will then take the information from the first agent and print it to you. So the whole process might not be done within a minute. it might maybe take 5 minutes, but just kind of as the fascinating thing, you can do things that they will be generated for you while you are giving these instructions to this agent-based system. So I think that's pretty useful, and we'll see more to come here. Of course, you can build upon predefined agents, predefined actions, so you don't have to build everything yourself, but just to kind of give it to you as kind of food for thought, what you can envision having all these kind of agents working for you and doing the things for you, even connecting systems for you that you would in the past do everything manually. So with this, I think a little bit ahead of time, but also Rhino's pretty quick. With this, I really want to kind of encourage you to take the opportunity to lead in this AI transformation. I think today is the best day to also connect with your peers and really have a look at all these LLM topics, AI topics that we will be discussing throughout the day, and really encourage you kind of to see this as a chance and your opportunity. So with this, I already want to thank you. As said, I have a couple of references on this QR code if you want to have a look at the blog that I was referring to, or at the Cloud Native community of Linz. All the links are assembled behind this QR code. So thanks so much for today, and yeah, looking forward to having conversations with you later. Thank you.
Would you also get kind of a score as a response out there, like if there was a detection? So you could put something in the front end, like as a warning that there might be sensitive content ahead?
Yes. So all these. So the question was about if the filtering, if there's also a score, or if it's just yes or no. So with the filtering and the other part will also be the evaluations. You always get kind of the metric that, at least to my knowledge, that will also give you kind of the confidence. For example, either if it's on this, let's say, violence topic that I was describing earlier, but also if the response is actually grounded in the sense that the response was actually based on your data. So asking for, I don't know, information about train tickets or like travel prices from Graz to Linz. And you have to also ground it because in your company there is some special prices. You could kind of check if the information that it was responding is actually grounded on a kind of confidence score. And same for the filtering. It can also give you the score on how much you are kind of in which dimension you're more on the kind of already close to be blocked, or if it's still okay. Cool. Yeah. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the day.